All right, so welcome to another Tony Too Tough video. Today, we're going to be doing charred material, natural charred material. Now, I've got myself a nice little setup here, and I wanted to bring you along today. This is a nice, happy Saturday. Thanks for coming out here to see us. I put it all in my little sack, and as just a stick, I drilled a hole through it, and I got a little piece of fat wood at the end to hold it all together. But this is holding my gear that I needed for this particular video. I don't need that any longer. Let's take a look and see what we've got. So how do we get this charred material into a fire? So let's start off with, you get your charred material, you get your flint and steel. Right there, it's already caught. Didn't take much. Let's take a look and see. See that? Wood is getting hot. That's getting a little warm. So, what we got over here? While that's cooking, let's let that ember cook up. Let's blow this little thing into a fire. Let's get this going. Let's drop this up in here. Drop it up in there. There we go. There we go. Nice. There we go. So now, the whole hopes and goals of all this is to get this material hot enough to char. So let's start. Let's not put the fire out first before we even get started. Let's put this in here. Down here, we got some stuff cooking. We got some stuff cooking. I'm dealing with some marginal material, folks, but because it's been wet. It's been wet and rainy. So let's do this. Let's put some stability underneath there. Let's make this just sit right on top. There we go. Now, let it sit right on top. There we go. That'll heat it all up. Now, as that's cooking, right, what we've got going on over here is we're using the three elements, right? And we're removing one of them. So we introduced heat, right, for fire. Then we introduced the material itself, the combustible material, and we're removing the oxygen, right? So the fuel, the heat, and then the oxygen, that's what makes the red flame or the orange flames. Without the oxygen, what you've done is you've starved it of oxygen, but the heat and the fuel is still there. It's going to char and turn into a form of carbon, just carbon. And that's the char material, and that's what catches the spark. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we're looking for today. We're looking for that pretty char material right there. Now, if your char material that you made the previous time becomes a little bit wet, why? I don't know. Maybe because you live in Florida and it gets a little humid. Well, you know what? You can always just hang the same pot over top of the fire, and that'll get it done. That'll char it back right up again, and it'll take a spark. Time for a little Papa established in 2020 cup of coffee. Oh, very, very much so needed. So here we are. That is cooking. I can see. Now what's going to happen eventually, you're going to see out the top of that little hole, you're going to see steam coming out if it was wet. Then you're going to see smoke pouring out, and then eventually that smoke will catch on fire. It'll be combustible fuel, but it'll be coming out. But there's nothing inside getting burnt to embers or to ash. It'll just cook into a coal. So that is how we're making char material. And that's going to take us some time. It'll probably be close to 10, 15 minutes before that's done. But let's talk about the properties of the material that you want to be hunting for. When we're working with natural char, when we're working with natural materials, it's all about the property of the wood. So any natural material that can get punky like this, and I want you to see this is the punkiness that we need to be at, right? So that it's just nothing, right? A little bit of structure to it is good, right? But when you get into something harder, like that piece right there, that's hard. That's not going to char. So we can remove that part and keep this part. This is the spongy part. And even part of this part is spongy. So what we've got left, we got to get rid of that hard piece. It's no good. It can't char. It's not going to char. It's not degraded yet. Even this is questionable at this part right here, but it'll get the job done. It'll actually take care of it. It's a little warm out here. I'm sweating up. So that is the natural char material. You're going to find this in oak trees, some pine trees. You're going to find this as a decaying log. And sometimes it can be saturated, soaking wet, and that's going to be okay. Put it in the can. Put it in the can. Just drop it up in the can. You know why? Because it's going to dry out as a fire. That's the nature of fire. See that back there? The can is cooking, baby. Oh, that is cooking. Cooking, cooking, cooking. Now, while we're here, I'm going to take you around because that's going to cook for just a minute. So let's start off with safety first. We got ourselves a fire extinguisher, right? We got our little camp set up here. A little bit later on today, I'm going to demonstrate my my hobo rod, my hobo reel that I made, the one that doesn't look like a phallic symbol, and I've got it. And I'll just give you the preview beforehand. That's what we'll be working on later today. Look where we're at so far with this char material. Let's get you back in place. Let's come down here a little bit. Nice. Okay. So you can't see it on this side, but that is just black on the outside. Black, black, black. It's because of this smoke I'm using right now currently. And you can see the smoke pouring out of the top there. You see that white smoke? Eventually that white smoke that'll catch fire. If I take a lighter to it, it'll definitely catch. So anyways, this black smoke is the direct result of me using fat wood. The fat wood is most definitely I was trying to catch it on fire. That was most definitely going to have a lot of black smoke. Soot's going to come from that. You don't want to cook on top of that, but it is great fire starter. It's a great way to get and establish better coals, especially if you're working with marginal materials. It's been raining, it's wet, it's damp, it's drizzling right now, currently, however, whatever the case may be. But you can get your fire started with fat wood. Find it. It's in abundance. It's everywhere you go in the South, at least. It comes from the stump of a pine, and as the pine dies, all the sap goes to the center. It leaves this rib bone in the center. All the outside of the pine deteriorates. We've talked about this before, but it's worth mentioning if you haven't seen my channel. And I've talked a lot about it. That's one of my favorite southern resources here in Florida. And it catches. But remember, you don't want to cook on it because it makes this nasty black smoke. It's where turpentine comes from. So that's why this is the gasoline of the woods. So, and when I see that smoke stop coming through there, once I see that done, once it's not smoking anymore, it means it's ready. What's important is getting this char material. This is almost done cooking. It doesn't really take that long, but you know, this is a Saturday. Once it's just hanging out in the yard, I got my coffee. We got some additional sticks in case we need some firewood, but I think we're doing really, 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 really good on this. You know, while we're waiting for this to char up, let me talk about my subscribers. First of all, you guys are awesome. Every single one of you that that likes and subscribes and leaves comments and talks about their adventures, and that's so motivating. It really is. Like this, the whole hobo, the whole hobo reel was because my viewers subscribers had actually done it, and I hadn't. And I'm a bushcrafter. I never made one. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, how hard can it be? But you know what? I'm glad I took the time to make a couple, because I know, like, by the third one I make, it'll be way better than the second one I made, because the first one looked like a wiener. The whole stem and apple is all there, and I was like, all right, I don't even feel comfortable with this. And I want to swing it away, so I'm just going to make another one. And I did, and it's way better. So, and number 3 or 4 is going to be even. It'll be much better. Come over here, Winston. Come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. All we're doing, buddy, we're just waiting for some char cloth material to get done. Some char material, some natural char. So I know, buddy, I know. So say hi to everybody. Everybody, this is Winston. If you don't already know, Winston is a senior dog. He's a chocolate lab. He is a family pet, and I love him dearly. He's a great critter. He's my camp buddy. He enjoys going out there. He definitely gets a little frustrated with the videos because I'm spending time talking to the camera instead of hanging out with him, and he generally wants to walk. Like, he's active dog, senior or not, dude. Like, he wants to get up and go. But sometimes I got to stop and do a video, and I want to do that. And that's what I came out here for. So he gets to do what I do, and he'll just have to wait. That's just how it is. But he's a good dog. But as my subscribers have encouraged me to make new gear, I wanted to take this time to ask you, what do you want to see me make next? Here's things that I haven't made, right? I've done a figure 4 trap, but I suck at it, right? So I don't even know how to make a Paiute deadfall, but I think that's going to be on the list. But the figure 4, I think I'd like to do a series on it. Not that it's legal to hunt with trapping in Florida. I think there's laws against it, but I think if we're ever in a situation where we need to secure food, I think laws are just a suggestion anyways. So I generally take those laws with a grain of sand. I don't necessarily always believe that you have to follow every single rule that's out there. That's just me. The most important ones are the ones that the good Lord puts down, and that's to love your neighbor and love your God, right? So if you could do those two things, you pretty much have already done all the rules anyways. So you are absolutely following the rules. If you love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and you love your neighbor like you love yourself, right? What harm are you going to do in this world? You're following God's law. That's the most important thing. I got some fire still cooking. By the way, the fire was so hot it burnt through my aluminum foil. So I did save most of the bottom of it, but you may want to double up on the aluminum foil. But I still see smoke coming out the top. So let me keep this going here for a little bit longer, and then we'll come back and check on this in a few. But we're going to let it cook for just a little bit longer, and then I got to let it cool, right? Because I can't open this lid up, by the way. Once you've got this cooked, once this is cooking in this actual char material, what you can't do is just open up that lid right away and introduce oxygen right into here. If you do so, it'll literally ignite your char material, and then it'll be ruined. So you have to let this cool down to where you can touch the lid, and that's going to be a few. So we'll be right back. All right, this is something I wanted to show you. Do you see that orange flame coming out the top? You see that flame right there? That's coming from that smoke. That means that it's getting to that spot where it's starting a good char, right? So all of that fuel that's coming out of there is actually combusting, right? So that's wood gas that's coming out right now. Wood gasoline. It's pretty interesting, but it's a fuel, and it's combustible, and it's burning right now. What's leaving behind is that char material. That's the flame I was looking for. That's when I know it's starting to get cooked. When that's gone and there's no more smoke coming out, that's when I know this is cooked. It's completely cooked. So we'll be back. All right, so we have now successfully cooked our char material. Now it is still a little warm to the touch. A little warm, all right? So I'm anxious to get this video over and done with. So I'm going to pop it open, and we're going to see. We're going to see if it works. If it's too early, then I have made a tragic mistake, and I have cost myself valuable, precious time and a video. So let's see if I can get this undone. Ooh, and it is. Oh, it was sticky. There we go. Ooh, so close. So close. Not quite complete. Not quite complete. You see that? Still a little tan. But I think I got enough char on this top piece to complete what I need to get done, which is enough to get this started. I'm going to put this back in the fire, and we'll get this going again. But I have enough to get this started. So I have enough to get this going one more time for another fire. but I have enough char material right here to start another fire. I'm going to show you right here. My coffee's got all that char. Man, come on, man. Mess up a good cup of coffee. That's all right. That's okay. I made a whole pot, so we're going to be okay. Let's get our char material in here. Let us spark this. Let's get this sparked up, shall we? Let's get to our trusty. It'll probably catch from the, let's do it over here. You see that? There we go. There we go. All right. Oh, slip. There we go. All right. It's hot, 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 hot. Oh, a little bit of fire. Would you look at that? Oh, my goodness. Amazing fire. Look at that. Oh, fire. Bam. Just like that. And don't lose your table. There it is. You don't have to go too far. Sometimes you just got to go out in the woods and get your dirt on. Get your char on too while you're at it. Go on now. Now get.